You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Well, a lot of the things that the president has done, right? Introducing a lot of the tariff actions against China, that introduced a lot of uncertainty into the market.
The tax cut, tariffs on China, President Trump attacking Amazon, all taking its toll on Wall Street. How much of an impact does the president have on the stock market? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the roller coaster stock market in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with disturbing criminal charges filed against a Booker High School math teacher. Quentin Peterson is being charged with possession of child pornography. Peterson's arrest is the result of an investigation into his previous job at Manatee's Lincoln Middle School.
I think they should be more thoroughly background checked, and I just think that basically they should be background checked. They all should have a background check.
Palmetto police say they were investigating allegations Peterson was involved in an inappropriate relationship with a student when they found inappropriate sexual images of a 16-year-old girl on Peterson's computer. He is being held at the Sarasota County Jail. Sarasota's Riverview High School is known for its academics and athletic program. Now, a controversial sign has got the school getting unwanted attention from around the world. A white student posting what's called a promposal on social media using a message many are calling racist. School officials are now starting the process of bringing in counselors to speak with students, providing them with an open and safe place to speak their minds. Former Riverview football coach John Sprague is upset about the incident.
It was a direct slap to what their philosophy is. It's not Riverview. It's an individual young man, and to hold a school who's done so much for all their kids, a minority and non-minority, is absurd.
District leaders have not made a decision on what punishment the student will face. Manatee County is looking at the possibility of raising taxes to pay for state-mandated school resource officers. The state is providing some extra funding for SROs as part of the Stoneham Douglas High School Public Safety Act, but it's not nearly enough. According to Manatee County, the mandate is leaving the school district with a $5.5 million bill. Typically, the school district and county split the cost of SROs.
I need to go back to our school board as well as our senior leadership team, look at our finances and see if there are other ways, other avenues to move some money around. Because one of the commissioners said if we had to fund the whole thing, well, if that's a possibility, then we do have to take money away from somewhere else.
Commissioners did not make any funding decisions today. They plan to discuss it again in a few weeks. A 7-Eleven was robbed early this morning in Palmetto when 2 men walked in and took an unknown amount of cigarettes. Police say the 2 men shown on your screen walked into the 7-Eleven around 12:30 this morning, acting suspiciously before returning an hour later to allegedly steal the cigarettes. Anyone with information is asked to call the Manatee County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. The new owners of the Rolling Green Golf Course have just announced plans to turn it into housing. The proposal has neighbors up in arms, many voicing concerns about the noise, the environmental impact, and traffic. Merriwater Golf LLC is proposing a 599-unit development, including townhomes and single-family villas.
It's just too much to expect of that road. And I really suspect that if they do a traffic study on this project, they're going to recommend the expansion of that road, but that's not going to happen probably for 5 or more years after this project would be completed. So we're going to be going for years with the existing infrastructure for the highways, and that's going to be a real problem.
We reached out to the owners of the golf course for comment, but have not heard back. Florida's tourism agency is touting marketing efforts that have attracted an increase in travelers from Canada. The estimated number of Canadian tourists grew 4% last year. The rise in Canadians comes as the state continues to experience a decline in overseas travel, which has fallen more than 6% over the past 2 years.
Canadians make the #1 international tourists who come to Florida. I mean, although it's just crossing the border, they fly down here, they drive down here, they have homes, they spend money, and they enjoy what we have to offer.
Tourism numbers from Canada had been falling since a high of 4.2 million in 2013 due to the weakened Canadian dollar against the U.S. dollar. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob, we love our Canadian tourists and snowbirds.
Oh, Canada. That's right. A lot of them around here, and great people staying here too, hopefully, because there's more snow expected up near Toronto and Quebec over the next couple of days. So snow continuing here. Alan, can you believe that? Up in Canada, not here though. Snowbirds are staying here a little longer now, I think, because of that. It's going to go down, I think, as one of the coolest Aprils on record for the United States before it's all said and done. Here's what's happening right now. A lot of shower activity along the eastern seaboard there associated with the frontal boundary, which actually spawned a tornado last night near Ruskin in Tampa. That's right, not too far away from Allen's home there. A tornado EF0 moved on through, and you can see that heavy rainfall now pushing off to the east near West Palm Beach. That frontal boundary, again, continues to head off in that direction, southeast. 74 right now. We have some sunshine, and the dew point 62. Winds out of the west-northwest at 15. The pressure rising ever so slightly. The evening planner looks good. Fair skies expected. 70 degrees. We're expecting right around 11 o'clock. No clouds around. Low dew point temperature. Low humidity. And you can see from the Futurecast, not showing anything going on tomorrow morning. So you don't have to worry about any shower activity overnight. I know we had some lightning strikes occurring around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, but not a lot of people saw it, and because they were sleeping. We'll have much more on the Futurecast coming up as another couple of cold fronts will be headed our way.
I could have used a few more inches of rain
I know.
for the old lawn.
That's right. A lot of lawns are going to be suffering too. I think after we get through these fronts, it's going to stay pretty dry for the upcoming week, and we'll take a look at that. Temperature too is going to be going up.
You could have told me that last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, the stock market has had its good days and bad days throughout the past year of the Trump presidency. But what impact does the president have on the stock market?
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha guaranteed whole life insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it today at Sunset Maserati, Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
It was a great ride while it lasted. Until a few weeks ago, the stock market was a steadily climbing flight with little turbulence. Now it's more like a roller coaster, and you're not so sure about the guy operating it. Dwayne Lindo joins us with more. Dwayne.
Well, that's right, Alan. It sounds about right at times. There were 3 huge Dow point drops this year alone, and what most experts are saying is to be sure of your risks and that you're comfortable with the risks that you're taking.
My M5 Solar, is that still available?
Victor Young has been running BMW and Lamborghini of Sarasota for more than a decade and has seen his share of stock market highs and lows.
A lot of my friends in 2008, 2009, 2010 who were able to get liquid prior to the recession, you know, their net worth went up, you know, astronomically.
Young says he's not concerned with the market fluctuating as of late. He says in order to survive a market that's unpredictable, you have to do your homework.
So I think you just really need to be aware of what's going on and where your money's at, and have an escape plan or some type of a measure in place that in the event you start to lose money in a certain area, where are you going to go?
USF economics professor Michael Snipes says stock prices reflect information about the companies more than anything else.
And one of the biggest things that determines a stock's price is the value of the company, or how profitable a company is. So if we expect a company to become more profitable, that's going to show up in its share price.
But the market has seen its fair share of record-breaking lows, a trend that he says can be attributed to the commander-in-chief.
Well, a lot of the things that the president has done, right? Introducing a lot of the tariff actions against China, that introduced a lot of uncertainty into the market.
It was trade tensions between U.S. and China that's been a big contributor to the market's mood swings. But for the average citizen investing in IRAs and 401ks, Snipes says the game is to stay put.
Most people who are going to have those, they're going to be retiring in 10, 20 years. And because they're designed for those long-term, that long-term time frame, even if there's a downturn of 10%, we've still got another 10 years that we can gain all of that value back.
According to Young, even with ongoing worries about rising interest rates and inflation, investors are being creative.
Millennials love cryptocurrency. I think that ship is sailed and it's going to happen. It's a matter of which companies are true enterprises or true currencies that have cash flowing businesses attached, and the ones that do, I think, will squeak through and make it, and I think it's going to impact some other currencies globally.
Young trying to thrive both in personal money markets and on the business end, even if the market does nosedive.
They know it's going to be a battle for market share. So again, it goes back to who's a really savvy business operator who, you know, can position their products, their services, their locations in the right place, because the pot gets smaller.
And Alan, it may be a bumpy roller coaster ride, but remember, it doesn't mean investors should abandon their long-term financial plans.
Dwayne, thank you. Coming up, a stockbroker, an economist, and one of the Suncoast's best political analysts on the trapezoid.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery?
Sure.
We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Welcome back. When it comes to the stock market, we have been pretty lucky for a pretty long time, but you know what they say about all good things. The question is whether the market's recent roller coaster ride, which includes today, due to the normal ebb and flow, or is it because of the president's threats about tariffs, his war on Amazon, or the exploding budget deficit? And joining us for more is Kristen Zaborski, an economics professor at State College of Florida, Jeff Stern, an ABC7 business insider, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. So the Dow closed the day down 424 points, and you said, hey, quite a rebound.
That is correct. It was down about 550 points. I went into a meeting with some clients, and we were down only about 200 and came out, and all of a sudden it was 550. So it came back a little bit.
I'm sure all you guys just like look up at the screen or look at the screen and just like, you know, swallow a little bit.
Exactly. We heard it before, but we do keep a long-term approach to it.
Let me ask you about something that USA Today wrote. I think we have it on the screen here. The era of calm markets and small price swings is over. The new normal on Wall Street is all about wild fluctuations, mammoth moves like the Dow Jones Industrial Average's 1,000-point drop earlier this year, and rapid-fire price reversals that can shift the mood of the market from optimism to pessimism in a matter of minutes and sometimes seconds. True, Jeff?
I would say not necessarily true. The number is big, but percentage-wise, this is not that abnormal. This is in the upper 25% or so for volatility. Last year was abnormal, but right now we're on the upper side, but it's not crazy yet. Just the numbers are big.
And Kristen, in the big picture of the U.S. economy here, what's happening the last few weeks, is significant or not significant?
I would say it's insignificant. After speaking with the president and CEO of the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, he's confident inflation is at the target rate. It is expected to build over time. Unemployment still remains incredibly low, less than 5%, and then economic growth is expected to increase between 2.3 and 2.5%.
I have heard some people say that there are expected interest rate increases coming in sometime this year, and that could also adversely affect the market.
It could be 3 times that the Federal Open Market Committee decides to increase the federal funds rate, or a total of 4 times until the end of 2018. And that just means that as far as our mortgage rates, as far as interest rates on car loans, it is going to rise. Unfortunately, consumers can't always decide when they want to buy a home or buy a car.
Frank, it seems to me that the market was, when President Obama was still in office and into the Trump presidency for the first 9 months, there was nothing but the escalator was just going up. And then the president started talking about tariffs. He started picking on Amazon. And you also had concerns about the budget deficit after the huge tax cut. Is it fair enough to say that these are some of the things that the political decisions have caused some of the market instability?
Well, I'll defer to Kristen and Jeff. I think so, but my sense is that the market will react to a few different things. They're probably looking at the medium and long-term implications to the bottom line of a number of firms from whatever Trump is saying on a given day, that can be very volatile, and he can be changing his mind. So I think there's some discounting that goes on. The other part of it, though, is sometimes you get reactions to reactions, and so a lot of very short-term volatility that's reflecting how investors think other investors are going to react to what the president just said.
All right, we are just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more on the roller coaster stock market right after we check the first alert weather. So stay with us.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Hi, I'm Holly Robinson Pete.
And I'm Rodney Pete. And after 16 years in the NFL, it came as no surprise that knee surgery might be in my future.
And when the doctor said Rodney needed to lose weight before surgery, we knew that Lipozene could help him lose 4 times more weight. It's America's #1 weight loss supplement.
I've already lost 30 pounds in 4 pant sizes. I didn't need a prescription or meal plan.
I've lost 10 pounds, I have more energy, more stamina.
We eat our favorite foods and still lose 4 times more weight.
I'm very impressed with Rodney's weight loss. His blood pressure and cholesterol have really improved. I recommend Lipozene because it's made from the rare konjac root, which contains glucomannan, a very safe and effective weight loss supplement.
Lipozene has no harmful side effects. No caffeine, no jitters, no counting calories.
No cleanses.
No starved diets.
No boot camps.
Nothing in your lifestyle needs to change. Just add Lipozene.
In a clinical study, people were not asked to change their lifestyle and simply add Lipozene. As a result, they lost not just twice the weight, not 3 times, but they lost 4 times more weight just by adding Lipozene. And 78% of that weight loss was fat, not water, but fat.
Rodney and I guarantee that you will lose weight or your money back.
Can we say that?
Yep, guaranteed, or your money back. So get Lipozene and lose 4 times more weight.
Now you can lose 4 times more weight. Just add Lipozene for only $29.95. Call right now and we'll double your order for free and ship it free too. And for a limited time, we'll double the size of each bottle for free. So now you have 4 times the Lipozene for just $29.95. Plus, you'll get Metabo Up Plus to help boost your energy and metabolism. But you must call. Call 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824.
Our conversation on the roller coaster stock market continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Alan, what's going on? Here's we got the viewer video sent in of last night around 4 o'clock in the morning looking east. Some lightning strikes as a result of a cold front that worked its way through. It also brought a tornado, an unusual one at that too, because there were no watches, there were no warnings in fact, and it was a very small cell, not noticeable at all on the radar. You wouldn't think much of that. There's no deep reds indicating a very strong storm, but everything just came together right, coming in off the water right there by Ruskin where the radar site is located and the National Weather Service. And at first they classified it as a downburst, causing damage to 10 mobile home parks there. And then they did some reports and looked at it today. As the light came out, they were able to determine that it was not. It was a tornado, an EF0 tornado, anywhere from 65 to 85 mile an hour winds, but they clocked it at 70. And also they had some damage there as a result of that tornado, a very brief one. It stayed on the ground only for about a half a mile. It was about 40 miles wide, but they can pop up sometimes without notice. So that's one thing to note here along the Sun Coast. Sometimes we get that, but not today here. Beautiful clear skies out there in the Van Wezel shot there, looking out over Sarasota Bay, and it looks like it's going to stay that way too for the most part. There's the frontal boundary. It's now down to our south. We'll put it into time and show you what's going on. As far as the forecast goes, that front stays down to our south, slowly sinks southward, and then high pressure builds in behind it. We'll get a north wind, and that will keep things on the dry note for the next couple of days at least. And then the next system that will have an impact on our weather is going to be moving through the Plain States on Wednesday. This will drop to the lower Mississippi Valley on Thursday and Friday, and eventually strengthen somewhat, but it's not going to be a very strong system for us. It will be for Mississippi and also into Louisiana as well as Alabama, it looks like, on Thursday. And then by Friday, it starts to enter into the southeast United States and swings a front our way come Friday. That front will have a chance to bring us a few showers. Rain chance not all that high, but tomorrow the day planner looks pretty nice. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, lots of sunshine around. That's at the beaches. Inland areas should be right around 80 degrees. And the Titan radar picture still showing that heavy weather taking place down to the south and east of us associated with that front. But for us, we're going to stay high and dry here. Current conditions, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, 74 comfortable degrees out there. There's a bit of a breeze out of the west-northwest at 15 miles an hour, so it's a breezy evening at 29.93 on the barometer. That is rising ever so slightly. High today was 79 degrees. Our average is 82. And the satellite and radar review showing that storm system causing rainfall into Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all the way over into Kentucky tonight. This will stretch off toward the northern New England states tomorrow. And then this is one we'll watch as it emerges out into the plain states. It will start to intensify and develop a little bit. Some showers down off the Keys and near the northern portions of the Bahamas there. Again, Denver getting some snowfall. And as far as the futurecast goes, there's the snow and freezing rain into the panhandle of Texas, I should say. Going to get some freezing rain there. Here's the front. There's not much to it. Notice by the time it reaches us, there's a thin line of showers that may be possible on Friday. So we'll keep a chance for a few scattered showers in the mix on Friday. And even on Saturday, as there's a secondary front behind it, but not much. Northwest winds at 10 knots, and seas will be right around 2 feet. There'll be a light chop on the bays and inland waters. A 7-day forecast looking nice. Tomorrow, Thursday looks good. Increasing clouds on Friday with that front. Saturday, a mixture of sun and clouds. Only a slight chance for a few showers. And then temperatures warm up into the mid-80s on Sunday all the way through all of next week, for that matter, it looks like. Alan will be back with his guest right after this. Stick around.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it today at Sunset Maserati, Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and special guests on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
Welcome back. We're talking about the roller coaster stock market. And then joining us for more are Kristen Zaborski, an economics professor at State College of Florida, Jeff Stern, an ABC7 business insider, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. Frank, let me start with you. If you could talk about the tactics or the strategy that the president is using here when talking about or going after Amazon and its CEO, Jeff Bezos, the talk about tariffs on China and the tax cuts? Are these strategic moves or is it playing to his political base, or both?
Or neither. I do think there's some playing to the political base. With respect to a long-term game plan or strategy, I'm just personally at a place where I'm not seeing that. I think it's a very impulsive a president that just says things, just reacts to things emotionally. Some of it, again, he knows what plays with his base, and so those themes are
and that is important, though.
Certainly, his base can't accuse him of being a turncoat or not sincerely believing in a lot of things that he says. Whether these things are wise economic moves and whether there'll be a penalty or a cost is another question. As I said before, I think that a lot of people discount some of the rhetoric. But if, in fact, he does blow up the NAFTA talks, if he follows through on some of these tariff threats with the Chinese, if the European Union, our relationship with our allies over there begins to unravel, then there might be some serious consequences.
You know, in the past, there have been so many stories about everything a president says has impact, especially when it comes to the market.
Not anymore.
Well, that's the question here. I mean, whether it was the president or when Alan Greenspan was head of the Federal Reserve, people picked apart the words and it moved markets here. And it is doing the same under President Trump. But the question is whether there are people who are inside the White House or on Capitol Hill to say, listen, you know, for the good of the economy, you might want to be careful about these things.
I think those people have said those things and they're gone now.
Okay, Jeff, why don't we take a look at some of the numbers today? As you said, you went into a meeting.
Right.
The market was doing what when you went into the meeting?
It was about 200 or so down, 150 if I recall.
And what do your clients ask you when they call you on a daily basis and they've seen in the last couple of weeks that much more volatility in the market?
The beauty is we really don't have those frantic calls on a regular basis. There's a couple of clients and you know who they're going to call and they're going to worry on a day-to-day basis, but you invest for the long term. And if your time horizon is 10, 20 years, you have to ask yourself, will a company like Amazon be higher in 10 years? And sure, he tweets and all of a sudden it drops 50, 100 points, whatever the case is. But I think that's a short term.
But I would imagine a lot of your clients are not at this stage in their lives, you know, especially with the number of retirees around here, they may not be around in 10, 15 years, and they're more concerned about the next 10, 15 weeks or, you know, months.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, let's take consideration 2017, right? So all of a sudden you're up 20, 25%, and now you're roughly flat for the year, maybe a little bit negative after today. We saw those down markets. But I mean, put that all, you're averaging 10, 12% over the last 2 years. That's doable. That's even a longer term effect than today or this past week or the beginning of this year even. I don't know if you recall, 2016, the market was down, had its worst open, down around 12%, and it was a positive year. So long term is the key, but in the short term, yes, I believe tweets and the president and any kind of news can affect the markets and does.
Kristen, there's been a lot of discussion. What impact will the budget deficits that we're going to have now because of the tax cuts that were passed late last year are going to have on the economy going into the future here? The GOP's basic bottom line is that, you know, the GDP, the gross national product, will grow and cover what would be an increase in the deficit. But in terms of the economic community, is there a consensus that will work or will not work?
So typically, you don't reduce taxes during an expansion phase of the business cycle. Typically, if you're going to cut taxes, you want to do that to help expand the economy through a recession. So we're sort of going against economic theory here, what we're seeing in reality. And as far as the tax cuts on households, it's good on the corporate side. because that's pro-growth taxes for on the corporate side. As far as households responding to taxes, there's still a lot of uncertainty there, because what am I going to do with that small increase in disposable income that I get? Am I going to save it? Am I going to invest it? Am I going to pay down debt? Or am I going to turn around and go spend it in the economy and increase GDP?
But you do see a lot of economists on the president's side that say that this will spur growth in the economy and will deal with the deficits. How much of a consensus is there in the economic community?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's a large consensus by any means. I certainly don't feel that way. Just based on the theory in traditional monetary policy, what you use during which phase of the business cycle, traditional fiscal policy, what you use. People don't realize that federal spending is already up. It's higher than it was last year this time. So that deficit is growing, and it's going to continue to grow.
And Frank, Paul Ryan said that the one thing that he was not able to accomplish as Speaker of the House is entitlement reform. And for those of you watching, that means dealing with your Social Security and your Medicare here, because that was another piece of the puzzle, that the Republicans knew that these tax cuts would add to the deficit, but that they would partially make up on it in terms of reforming Medicare and Social Security.
Which remains a third rail. We've yet to see somebody tackle entitlement reform. There's a lot of folks that don't think that we should mess with entitlements. This will put more pressure on them. But I have to come back, because I just was chuckling when you used economists' economic consensus and the word consensus in the same thing. Don't you know that if you put two economists in a room, you're going to get at least 3 opinions?
Yes.
That seems like an inside joke, but I get that. Now we are in a phase that we're coming up against the midterm elections here, and Congress is not going to, not that they were doing a lot of legislating before, but they're certainly not going to be doing a lot of legislating from now to the end of the year here. So what you have left there in the space is the president, who has a lot of leverage to do what he wants in terms of tariffs and other economic moves here. Is the political community concerned about that?
He's going to have some discretion on the tariffs front. I'm waiting to see whether or not he's going to follow through. I think you've seen him on a lot of issues. He likes the way out. He just wants to declare victory with a better deal. I'm not sure how much leverage that he has. Given right now what the political winds are boding in terms of a blue wave, I don't think you're going to see a lot of cooperation on the part of Congress. And then if in fact the Republicans lose control of the House, you're going to see a lot of resistance to proceeding with the president's agenda.
There is a large consensus among macroeconomists that generally discretionary fiscal policy should not be used. It is heavily frowned on.
Well, then that leaves really few alternatives except for cutting the military, which we are actually spending more money on. There's not a lot of other things to cut, but Jeff, let me ask you this. What, in your opinion, what has a bigger impact on what the market is doing on a daily basis? Would it be tweets from a certain president of the United States and comments, or it's earnings report season?
I think earnings has a big play on that, but obviously you wake up and there's a tweet, so the futures actually play into that, and it might be positive, might be negative. I always get a kick out of waking up and looking at what that is. And then the reality comes in. This week, a third of the S&P companies are reporting earnings, and so far they've been very strong. But we've seen early on, remember, the banks had strong earnings, and all the banks were down that same day. So people are really looking forward, and is this sustainable? And I think we have to look at companies individually and the economy. Is it sustainable and for the long term? And I think the answer is yes for the most part. But the excitement of the banks seems to be already over. Amazon has had a great growth rate, but maybe
Even though they took a little hits because of a couple of comments.
I'm sure if you bought Amazon at 800, you'd still be pretty happy.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Thank you all. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on the new red flag law. The Florida legislature recently implemented several new gun laws, including one allowing law enforcement to confiscate guns from people deemed a risk to themselves or others. In order for someone to get their guns back, you would have to convince a judge. So we went to Facebook to hear your thoughts. And Shannon says, making cops and judges shrinks, no proof, just an allegation, and the gun grab begins. Gareth says mentally ill persons don't need and should not have firearms, period. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7, and you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Kristen Zaborski is an economics professor at State College of Florida. Jeff Stern is an ABC7 business insider, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. When we return, we'll have our consumer watchdog, Jerry Zivic, to discuss how people are finding an alternative to taking an ambulance to the hospital. We'll have more after the break.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
So, how many of us feel completely confident about our financial future? Let's hear some specifics. Yes, go ahead.
I don't want to be a burden to my kids. When my husband died, it took almost all of our savings to give him a proper funeral. I honestly don't know if there's enough to bury me, let alone cover expenses should something happen.
Okay. Let's talk solutions. One thing you may want to get in place is a guaranteed whole life insurance policy from United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, which is a Mutual of Omaha company. This is affordable coverage, which provides a cash payment which can cover funeral expenses, bills, and other financial needs. Most payments are on their way within 24 hours. Yes, sir.
Do I need medical exams, things like that?
No medical exams. If you're between the ages of 45 and 85, you can call this number, or you can go online and apply for coverage up to $25,000. United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back. When you have an emergency, you can call 911 and an ambulance will be sent to take you to the hospital. But with the ride costing people thousands of dollars, people have started to request an Uber or a Lyft to take them for a far cheaper amount of money. And here to tell us more is consumer watchdog Jerry Zivic in our For Your Benefit segment. And Jerry, just before we went on the air, you made a very interesting point about your mom.
My mom in 1948 took the bus to have my brother. Nobody would ever think to do that today. But what people are doing now is people are calling rideshare like Uber or Lyft instead of taking an ambulance. That way they can control where the ambulance goes. The ambulance will go to the nearest hospital. Rideshare, if the hospitals will take the patient or passenger to their network hospital.
But the question is, when is that a good idea and when is that not a good idea? For instance, we have a producer here who I'll call Greg. And his wife is going to have a baby in a couple of months, and they're talking about what happens if he is here at work and she goes into labor. Do you call an ambulance or do you call Uber?
Well, there's a difference between an urgency and an emergency. And in most instances, I think when you're in the early stages of labor, you can certainly go with a rideshare to the hospital. But here's the instance the interesting part about all that. If you're the rideshare driver and somebody is pregnant and, or losing bodily fluids here or there, who's stuck with having to pay for cleaning up the mess?
Okay, well, we'll skip over that part. But let's talk about some of the risks here, because I would imagine there is a liability issue if you are getting what is private, unregulated transportation to a hospital, unlike ambulances with EMTs and part of the government.
Well, there's a legal liability. Once the driver takes that passenger on, their liability goes up dramatically. It's like a proprietor owning a shop. You have a higher degree of duty of care to that person. But when you call Uber or Lyft, you have to remember these people are not trained. But when you call an ambulance, you can start to get life-saving care immediately. So there is a difference.
All right. So bottom line, what are the do's and the don'ts? When should you not call a Lyft or an Uber to get to the hospital?
If your life is being threatened, if you are dizzy, if you're bleeding, if moving you would give you even a greater risk of harm, those are times that you should call an ambulance at once.
And are these companies putting out policies to their drivers about whether or not to respond? Or how do you find out, if you're an Uber or Lyft driver, that you're going to a home that has almost an emergent situation?
Well, they don't know more often than not until the passenger's really in their car and they're told that something's going on. And the companies themselves really don't have any policies about that. But they'll tell you that if there's an emergency again, you should call 911. But these companies are very much concerned. They want to keep a distance between themselves and the drivers because the drivers are independent contractors.
Okay, Jerry Zivic joins us every other Tuesday for your benefit segment. When we return, we'll have a final look at your First Alert weather, plus the French president visiting the White House today to meet with President Trump. What did the president have to say about him? Stay with us.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover One Particular Harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
In life after the military, it's our duty as veterans to have each other's back. I'm retired Colonel Greg Gatson, and it's my mission to help you get the benefits and services you've earned. If you need to file a VA claim, remember these important steps. Submit an online claim through ebenefits.va.gov. Work with an accredited Veteran Service Organization, or VSO. And if you need to attend a VA claim exam, please go. Visit this website to learn what to expect.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get the final check on our First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Good evening, everyone. A beautiful afternoon and a beautiful evening. It has been a bit breezy, though. Winds have been strong out of the west and northwest right along the coastline there, up to 15, gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Casey Key webcam showing that. You'll see the waves kind of picking up here late in the picture, and that's the result of the secondary reinforcing shot of some slightly drier air, let's call it, not much cooler. Winds, here's some sustained winds now, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour along the beaches there. Siesta Key now reporting the 10-mile sustained wind out of the west-northwest. That keeps things cooler there near the coast, too. A little bit higher in Minnesota Beach, Venice at 13 and 13 in Northport. The wind forecast calling for breezy conditions overnight, west to northwest winds at 10 miles an hour. Nothing significant, but still a little higher than usual. And then we'll see those winds again stay anywhere from 10 to 15 throughout the day tomorrow. A little less on Thursday, and we'll get that sea breeze effect. Now, the humidity is going to stay relatively low over the next 2 days. We'll come back up on Friday. There's another front, though, due to arrive on Friday, and that is going to bring us a few showers. Not a lot. A few showers will be around. It's not a very strong cold front, but the day tomorrow looks great. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures at the beach is right around 76 degrees for a high. We'll see upper 70s to near 80 degrees if you push further inland. Now, the Titan radar picture showing a lot of activity down to our south and east right now. That's that front. It did bring us a few showers and a few thunderstorms overnight. Right now, it is causing some pretty heavy weather near West Palm Beach, the possibility of some small hail on Storm Tracker there. Nothing going on with us. That front now not a big concern. You can see the little rope cloud, if you will, associated with that secondary front as it makes its way through west central Florida, and that's the clouds we're seeing right now, and the wind's starting to pick up a little bit due to that secondary front of the visible satellite imagery. So the European forecast model will take us through time here. Looking good on Wednesday, looking good on Thursday too. Not much going on there. Thursday, things stay quiet. Here comes the storm system. Notice this little line of clouds here and here. That brings us a slight chance for a few showers, very light. We're not going to see anything too rough. 3 p.m. showing a few showers depicted here along west central Florida. Even into Friday evening, there may be a few sprinkles around. And then Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, still showing inland showers with that front, a secondary one behind it as well, pushing on through. But then looks to be really nice. Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and then Monday. And Sunday and Monday, we really start to warm up back into the mid-80s, it looks like, and even some upper 80s well inland. Currently, it's 72. We have a few clouds around. And the humidity is 71%. Winds are out of the northwest at 13. The pressure is rising ever so slightly now. And the National Satellite Radar picture showing this area of low pressure continues to spin very slowly. It's an upper level low, which means it doesn't move very fast. It's going to track up in the northeast tomorrow, bringing a lot of rainfall there, mainly rain. And then this system is the quick hitter that's now moving through the plain states. It will eventually sweep that front our way and bring us a chance for that little bit of rainfall on Friday and Saturday morning. So boaters tomorrow, there'll be a bit of a breeze, but it shouldn't be too bad. Seas running right around 2 feet. There'll be a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The northwest winds at 10 knots out there. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, looks nice. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe an increase in clouds there. Some clouds on Friday night, maybe a few showers. A slight chance for morning showers on Saturday. And then we warm up into the mid-80s, even some upper 80s well inland. And that humidity will be back early next week. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance in just a few minutes? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with just a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, TruStage Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you. TruStage cares for you the same way you care for your family. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now. Any amount of protection can help, and you are guaranteed to be accepted. In just a few minutes, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Getting life insurance can be fast and easy, and it could cost less than you think. Plus, your price will never increase, and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now for a free, no-obligation quote. It's fast and easy. Plus, you get TruStage's 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-809-8372 today.
You are like no other. So why should your choices be ordinary? Ghibli, the absolute opposite of ordinary.
Experience it at Sunset Maserati of Sarasota.
Checking primetime headlines, French President Emmanuel Macron arrived at for a state visit at Donald Trump's presidency. He is the first president in 100 years not to have held a state visit in his first year in office, and the visit is a test of whether personal chemistry between the two leaders can bridge major policy divides. ABC's Serena Marshall has the latest from Washington.
The first big soiree of Mr. Trump's presidency. The 21-gun salute, the pomp, the circumstance, all for French President Emmanuel Macron.
Is a testament to the enduring friendship that binds our two nations.
It's the first state visit since Mr. Trump took office and follows the Trump's visit to France last year. It began yesterday with a gift, a tree from the site of a World War I battle planted on the White House South Lawn, and a monuments tour by chopper. Today, they got down to business. The Iran nuclear deal the president called insane and ridiculous and offered a stern warning to Iran.
If they restart their nuclear program, they will have bigger problems than they have ever had before.
During a press conference, Macron agreed. He also didn't like the deal, but said he hopes Mr. Trump will stay in.
We therefore wish from now on to work on a new deal with Iran.
When it comes to Syria, the two nations in Britain came together earlier this month for a joint strike. The two leaders said,
I want to come home also with having accomplished what we have to accomplish.
It will depend on the reality on the ground.
Macron did acknowledge, though, one of their major differences, climate change. But despite any political differences, the two seemed close, perhaps even the start of a bromance.
We have to make him perfect.
Thank you.
I like him a lot.
Tonight, the president hosts a glitzy state dinner for the Macrons. It's the first of his presidency and something we've been told the First Lady personally oversaw the planning for. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Rear Admiral Ronnie Jackson's confirmation hearing as VA Secretary was scheduled for tomorrow, but now it is delayed indefinitely. Sources say lawmakers on both sides have concerns about allegations related to improper conduct by Jackson, who is Trump's personal physician. Jackson would succeed Dr. David Shulkin as head of the VA. Some were puzzled by Trump's selection, saying Jackson didn't have management experience needed to run the second largest bureaucracy in the federal government. A GoFundMe site created for the Waffle House hero who has nearly reached its goal in less than 24 hours. It raised nearly $50,000. James Shaw, the same man who wrestled the rifle away from the shooter, created a GoFundMe page to help himself to help the victims of the shooting. Within the hours, $15,000 was nearly met. 2 women shot in the incident remain hospitalized in stable condition. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.